Hello, welcome. I'm Virginia. I'm an actress and filmmaker from Southern California, and I live in the LA area. And today I'm giving you a system for how to schedule your life as an actor. Okay, so as an actor, there are a lot of things, right? A lot of things to manage, a lot of hats in the air, things to juggle, okay? Now, I'm not saying that what I'm going to mention is foolproof or something you have to like live by or whatever, but I think it is a good way to stick to things because I myself personally have wasted like some time or some years being unorganized, right? Where I will get focused on one thing and then I sort of let the other things fall through the cracks. And I am going to give you a system that hopefully will prevent these things from happening to you. I wish that I had like thought through it, I guess. I don't know. Honestly, I think only experience has taught me that like, oh, I should have been doing this. Also, I very much got interrupted by COVID because right after I got my headshots, that all happened. Basically, it's going to be not a step by step for like what you should do hour by hour. It's nothing like that. It's just sort of a structure for your life, which you can set up based on how much time you have to dedicate to this, that will keep you from overdoing on one thing and ignoring everything else, okay? So basically, actors need to have a variety of things, right? You need to have an education in acting or whatever you want to call it. You need to have a background, build those like acting muscles, all of the things that people say, the cringy things, okay? So those are some things, right? Now, you also need to have worked. You need to have been on the stage. You need to have been in front of a camera. You need to like build those muscles because those are different muscles than playing around in class and like, trying new things. So yeah, being on set, working around other people, seeing how crews work, working with other actors in a professional environment, those are all things that you also have to work on. Then on the more business side of things, there is trying to get an agent or trying to get a manager, right? Or contacting casting directors and like, being in touch with them. So you have to go and make the lists and search who you're interested in and see who's interested in you and see what shows they're working on. There's that, right? Okay. They're also having the profiles set up. You have to have profiles set up. Not on every channel. I talk about that in a different video. Actors Access. There is Casting Networks. There's one that was called LA Casting. There's Casting Frontier. There are a lot of them, right? So you're supposed to have a profile at least on one of them, okay? And if you're in England, it's Spotlight. I don't know what Canada uses. I think Canada sort of uses Breakdown Services / Actors Access, but I think they also use some of their own. Basically, you need like your portfolio profile worked out, right? There are a lot of things that need to be done, and I think a lot of the advice out there is to focus so much of your attention on like one and then ignore all the others, which is the worst advice you can give someone ever because it means you will never get there. If you spend all of your time doing classes, you can do classes to the end of time, and unless some magical being, comes to your class and is like, they're great, they're wonderful, I'm gonna put them somewhere, like it doesn't help you, okay? Even if you're doing like smaller projects and independent films, if you're not reaching out to people, you might not get anywhere. If you are constantly reaching out to agents, casting directors, managers, and you never are able to add any new work to your portfolio, then you might not get anywhere, okay? And it's like on and on and on like this. And I sort of did this. My first focus, I was like, I don't have any reel, I need reel. So like I focused on like doing projects, getting in student films, getting reel, like, and trying to like do that, right? And I'd already had class when I was in like college. Obviously I had class. And so I felt like I had already focused on that a lot, which I had, but I should have, when I was in class, been thinking about getting reel and like submitting to people. And then after I finished school, then I also like, went back and took classes later, but like could have been taking probably some classes. Now you don't want to spend a ton of money on classes, like that can go on forever, like I said. So basically what I have come to the conclusion of is that some time needs to be allotted to all of them. I think some people would say, well, you can allot a few hours each day, right? But I think that's sort of impractical, especially if you have another job, which everybody does. And I also think that while you can take your acting career seriously, it also sort of has to be like a hobby. And I'm not trying to say like the word hobby like it's a dirty word or anything, but it has to be treated differently, like it's a side thing a little bit, because even though you can say I'm an actor and like introduce yourself as, yes, I'm an actor, you are not going to be able to sustain yourself financially doing it at first. And that means that you will have to focus a lot of your time on the financials of it all, okay? I believe that like time should be sectioned in big chunks to each of these things, right? So I sort of did this with the short film. I made a short film so that I could get more real. This was later. It was like a couple years ago. And I wanted to like get back into it because things were opening up and the strike was happening. So I was like, well, there's nothing I can do in terms of like going out to find work, but I can just make my own short. And I happened to have someone I knew who was interested in doing the same thing. He also wanted to like make a short because he likes to do a lot of projects. So basically I was like, okay, I'm gonna write it and then I'm gonna get the actors and then we're gonna film it, okay? So this can be on any time frame you want, but I wouldn't suggest a year, right? So if you split it all into 3 sections, 3 quadrants, or maybe 4 quadrants if you consider the profile building, portfolio building like another section, then you don't want it to be 4 years before you come back around to the first one again. So I would say 6 months max, really, or quarterly, or you can do like a month basically. So you say, which for filming, like it's a trajectory because like if you're gonna film something, then it does take longer. So basically like I wrote it in a month and I worked out the actor schedules because that was hard. And now I will never get that actress ever again because she is in vertical shorts every day. Every day. It's crazy. But I was lucky enough to get her before she was in all of those. It took me like a month to work out scheduling. And then in the 3rd month, we filmed it. And then I guess you could consider the 4th month as I sent it to an editor and he edited the short together. So if you consider that a quarter, basically like I did 3-4 months of getting the reel, right? So I've had another piece of footage to add. And yeah, it's sad because it's only one piece of footage, but whatever. You know, it's like a whole short film, but only from one project. So then basically what you want to do is say, okay, now I'm going to submit to agents. And maybe you'll do that for like a month, right? And you say, okay, I'm going to submit to managers, casting directors. You can submit to directors. You can talk to other actors. This is like your networking time to get out in front of people. And you've got the reel to say like, hey, here's some new footage of me, blah, blah, blah. So you do that for like a month or 2. Then I did my play, actually. This is, I'm not trying to use this as like an example, but I'm using it as an example because I was really happy with how this year went. And some of my other years, I'm like, I just spent the whole time trying to get work and I didn't get any. Anyway, yeah, so then I did my play, right? And that took a lot of rehearsal time and things. It was a busy, busy time. So basically that was like my working time. Now, if it had been for film, then yeah, obviously it would add to my reel. But even for theater, it's like my like working time, working with other actors and like performing time. Now, toward the end of this time, like once rehearsals were over and we were starting the run of the show, I was reaching out saying, hey, I'm in a play. Do you want to come see me? To managers and like talent agents, casting directors. So it's like, hey, I've got this play on and we're running it. If you want to come see it, stop by. Even if they say they can't come see it, because I actually got a response, which I was really surprised. And some of them were like, oh, I can't make it. And I was like, that's okay. It's okay. You saw it. You know I'm working. It's all good, right? So you want to get in front of them. But imagine if I was just trying to like submit on Actors Access endlessly into the vortex and I didn't go out there and do the play. Now you have nothing to like say to the agents and managers and be like, hey, I've got something new for you. So then, right, you have finished the play. Maybe you want to work on something else, improve one of your skills, improve your singing. Your skills really you can be doing all of the time, like especially if you treat them like a hobby. You know, like my dance, I kind of treat like a hobby and I'm just kind of doing it all the time to stay in shape. But anyway, Then you can do like an acting class and you say, okay, I'm gonna do a month of acting classes, or I'm gonna do 2 months of acting classes. Now during this time, if you wanna be submitting on, Actors Access or something, you can, but you don't have to beat yourself up about it. And you don't have to necessarily beat yourself up about not submitting to like agents or managers, right? So basically the system that I feel works is to spend like 3 months focusing on the one thing. And that way you don't feel like you're either trying to do everything all at once all the time, everywhere all at once all the time, or you don't feel like you have focused on one thing and completely ignored the others, and now you have nothing to show for any of the others, right? So it's kind of a constant thing. And because agents and managers don't want you reaching out to them every week anyway, once a year or twice a year is like, at least for me, good enough. I don't like being in people's face all the time. So for me, that's good enough. Now I've got some people who've heard from me and they've reached out to me, and it's good, right? So you're making like slow progress, but it's not overwhelming. So I feel like that sort of cycle has helped me a lot. And it's like, it builds the portfolio, sends the portfolio out, builds my skills on like a continuous basis so that I'm not getting overwhelmed. Like I said, it depends on how much time you have to dedicate to this. If you're working 5 days a week, I know that it's hard, and you may only be able to dedicate weekends to whatever it is you want to do. But if you set the structure like that, I think it will really help, and you will be able to sort of get everything you want to get done within a reasonable amount of time, without feeling like you didn't do anything. The real thing is that like submitting online to Actors Access and Casting Frontier, it's fine, it's good. It's probably not where the majority of your work's going to come from. There are so many people submitting for those now, and because everybody now knows like, oh, that's the site you get on. And also like a lot of the projects that used to be quality before, like really even in 2019, like I used to see some projects that were like really good, and they were looking for sort of regular people, you didn't have to be a former Olympian or anything. And they were for big projects. And now what I see on there mostly is really, really just independent stuff. And so that's why it's like, yes, I submit to them, but I don't submit to them all the time. It also will help you save a little bit. I talk about the submitting to all these things on a different video because of like the cost of all of them, and they really add up, and having them all going all at the same time can be really expensive. If you want to like focus on like a couple of them and like spread them out, pay like 3 months for this one and 3 months for that one, and try not to have the fear of missing out syndrome, okay? You're going to hit what you need to hit, and you're going to apply to what you need to apply to. There are always going to be more jobs. There were jobs in the past, there will be jobs in the future. And my video about the state of the film industry is a different video, so I won't go into that right now because it will change. I'm not saying that the industry's not changing, because it totally is. But don't like freak yourself out about, oh, I didn't get to submit for this one short film from this random person. Like, it's, in the grand scheme of things, not gonna change things much. So anyway, I hope this video helped, and I hope it has made your life scheduling easier with this weird acting thing that we all like to do. If you have any questions, let me know down in the comment section. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you soon.